Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Penalty Loop Podcast, a podcast about biathlon by Jordan Gottschalk from Penalty Loop and a regular guest, RJ Weiss from Biathlon Analytics.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I think you're okay. I know that you're in a kind of a storm weather right now, and your picture's frozen, and there was a bit of delay, so I thought I already lost you, but I'm doing good. We're getting ready for vacation. It's a little hectic because we're also preparing for some renos in the house while we are away, and I still have to work a couple of days, so it's a little bit hectic as it always goes. But luckily, as soon as you're in the car, you're like, okay, vacation mode. So, yeah, how are you?
Similar, right? We're about to head out. We're doing our Scandinavian sojourn. So we're going to be stopping in Copenhagen. We're going to go by Oslo. My son is very excited. He keeps saying, when are we going to Oslo? Because he knows that I was there back in March. And so he's very excited about that. So I'm going to drag my parents.
Are you going to Holmenkollen with him?
Oh, we are. Yeah, I'm taking my parents out there. Yep. We'll see.
Sweet.
See if there's anybody that's out there practicing, and I'll go harass them. Yeah. I think it's going to be a good time. Anything new?
Before we go, quick. Yeah, so there was a couple of things that maybe you've already mentioned, but I just learned about the change in rules that if two athletes or three or more are in a race for the globe right now, if they would end at exactly the same points, up till now, the racer with the most wins would get the globe.
Yes.
That's going to change so that if that happens in the future, that they're both going to get a globe, which I love because I feel like if after, 20 some races, you still have the same points, you both deserve it. And I think the Preutz-Lou battle was a great example. If they would have ended on the same points, I would have hate to see the globe only go to one of them. So that was one of them. I heard about the Swiss team who all were going to, I don't know if they went to an event, but the whole team went to go somewhere and they got back to a broken into team place where they were staying. I heard Nicholas Hardwick talk about it on the Extra Runde podcast. Luckily, nobody got hurt or anything. I think it was mostly laptops that were missing, but nothing substantial. There was a bit of police involvement, of course, because there was some ammunition in the area. And I think they actually originally took it, but then it appeared somewhere again. But didn't seem like anything that was particularly planned against the team, just more like a opportunistic situation.
Yeah,
and then the last thing I wanted to mention, the name probably doesn't mean anything to the majority of people listening to this, but I have a feeling, especially if you've watched races in Germany, but I think he's been at almost every event for numerous years in a row. The 84-year-old Norbert Starke has passed away. He was known for, he had this big hat with hundreds of pins from biathlon events stuck on it, which I also heard on Extra Runde podcast is going to the Biathlon Museum in Oberhof. So I think that was one of his wishes, and I'm pretty happy, even though I don't know the guy, but it's nice that kind of sort of a legacy is kept that way. And it's interesting because he was just a fan. He was not associated to any group or whatever, but he must be one of the most filmed and photographed people on the Biathlon World Cup for so many years. And, I don't recall seeing him in Oslo, but at the same time, I've probably seen him on TV so many times that when you see him somewhere, you probably don't even notice almost because he's such a familiar face. But yeah, it's a big fan that unfortunately has passed away. But that was the news that I wanted to mention. Anything from your end?
No, I just wanted to second your you the thoughts you just shared about him, and just one of those people that he's always there, right? And he just it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you saw him every single race or something, but it was just a very familiar sight. And it's
for a
just gonna be one of
cameraman
those
looking
things
for a picture.
Exactly. Yeah, he was. Yeah, you can't even count the number of times that you've seen him in pictures because, right? He was always around. So I'm really, I'm really happy that his hat will be there in the. It just makes me happy that his memory will live on, and those of us who who saw him, and I hope someday that my kids get to see that hat and I get to tell them about it because it is quite something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Also memorable, the interview we had.
Yes, quite.
With the first team ever from Greenland / Denmark at the World Championships in the single mixed relay. We talked a lot about that.
Yep.
But also so many other things. She is the ambassador of sustainability for the IBU, or ambassador for sustainability. We talked about wax teams for small nations. So many other things. It was a blast to chat with Sondre and Ukaleq Slettemark. I had a lot of fun chatting with them.
Absolutely. And one of the things that you will unfortunately not be able to experience that we did was the number of sibling looks that they gave each other. There were times when it's like, you could just, you can only explain it as like, if you are a brother or a sister, you have gotten this look from your sibling many times in your life. You can only give it to your sibling. So it was just fun to observe it and watch it. And, it just made them even that much more charming, right? And that much more likable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're a top athlete on the some of the best biathletes in the world. You're still you're still brother and sister.
And I know that there are moments
that was
just listening to it in which you will be able to know that they gave it to each other because of just the tone in their voice.
And I tried to take a screenshot at the right time, but I did not succeed.
It's very funny. So, I really appreciate it. This is just one of those really fun things that we get to be able to do. I really enjoyed
it. Yeah. So
have fun.
Without further ado, enjoy the talk as much as we did, and thank you for listening. Take care.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, Ukaleq and Sondre. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Good evening to you too.
We have
and good to
Team
see you
Greenland.
Again, returning guest and new guest. Super exciting.
Thank you.
So, are you now pretty famous after starting in Lenzerheide?
Well, I was hoping I could be famous for something else if I'm making a qualified guess of what you're of what you're hitting towards.
Tell us more.
No, I mean it was. I wouldn't say I'm famous just yet, but
Sondre likes to make grand gestures.
Right, and then I think all PR is good PR, I guess, is what I've been gaslighting myself to believe ever since. But,
you need to say what happened in Lenzerheide.
I mean, I was excited to get over the finish line, and then
in the single mixed
relay, and then I just made. I saw my good friend Jakob Burgola. He finished just before me. I saw him at the finish line, and then I knew I was going to be on camera. So I thought, okay, well, I might I'll do some fun stuff over the finish line there. And then I went just as I went over. Both tried to like break and give him a high five. And then as I was trying to give him a high five and break and turn around, I just lost my balance and fell right on my ass.
Spectacular.
Which then looked very funny on TV. And I sat there for 2-3 seconds debating what the hell am I supposed to do now. And then I just thought, well, This is definitely gonna end up on some kind of blooper video. So
And it did.
and it did. So
Absolutely.
I might as well just laugh.
You
it
know
off.
what? I'll say, because I was actually wondering how tight it was between you and QFM catching up with you before the finish line. But I think because of the lap 9 is shorter, it wasn't a big deal. But I'm trying to find footage of it to see if he was actually able to see you and that kind of thing. And I searched a lot for that race, particularly the finish, and your fall never came up. So it's not something that pops up instantly when you look for that race. So hopefully that will make you feel a little bit better.
Yes.
Just in the blooper reels.
Just in the blooper reels, yeah.
Yes.
But
honestly,
talking about that, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, honestly, there are worse things to be famous for, and you guys are very young, so there's much more fame and fortune coming your way.
Yes, I certainly hope so.
But I was wondering, how much was that in your head in the last leg of that race?
On the single mix?
Yeah.
Well, we had been talking a lot about the single mix relay coming up, and it was the only single mix that we managed to do. We had planned a lot more, but since Ukaleq got injured at the beginning of the season, this was our one chance.
Right.
So we really, really wanted to go all the way to the finish line. And I think we did pretty good, even though I got a penalty loop.
You got a penalty loop. I was not in very good shape.
But I was when I went out of the last shooting, I was pretty sure we were gonna make it. I knew I was gonna make it because I just had to go. I had to finish the last shooting, and then it wouldn't really matter how.
But it was a little bit close in one of the other shootings, wasn't it?
Yes, probably. But
I think it's both because
we had like pretty good
margin.
what do you say, margin all the way through. But another penalty loop or something more, and I think
you could probably have had
we
two
were close,
still.
but we made it, and I guess that's what matters.
Yeah. No, because I was originally looking, because I think in the end you were about 3:34 behind, I think. And the average lap time of the top nations were around 3:30, 3:40.
Yeah.
But then because of that lap...
Yeah, but in the last loop there, it was so far up to the next people that, I guess I could have gotten...
I guess you lost a bit of time into the finish line.
Yeah, I did too.
But the last lap was only 2:40 something, right? So I think you could have even had one or two penalty loops, but I'm glad you didn't. But how long before that race was actually happening? How long were you already like building up to it or anticipating?
So long. We were supposed to do so many more single mix relays. We were even trying to like look out which should we choose, IBU Cup or World Cup, only for where we could do the single mix relays. And we hadn't been able to do it at all that season because, as Sondre said, I was injured. And the season before, we have done two, one in the World Cup and one in the IBU Cup. Yeah. So we have been talking a lot about it, and it's the only chance we have to do any relays at all because we're only two people on the team. So we were looking forward to it for a long time.
But you have a younger brother that does biathlon as well, right? Or is not anymore?
He used to do, but he quit this season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so now he's
he's coaching one of our...
trying to become a coach instead.
Yeah, he's coaching some of the youth athletes that
cool
that we have on the training camp in Lillehammer now.
You guys are what, 23 and 20 years old, correct?
Yeah, yes. Yep.
So yeah, you've got plenty. You just need to get a few more youth in there, coach them up real quick, and just drag them up to the IBU Cup and the World Cup to fill out a full relay.
Yeah, we have a chance at the Olympics because then we go for
Denmark.
So if we can get two more Danish, because in the Olympics we race for Denmark, and in the normal World Cup and World Championships we go for Greenland. But in the Olympics, if we can get two more Danish, one girl and one guy with us to the Olympics, then we will have shot at racing the mixed relay.
Mhm.
That would be cool.
That'd be-
That would be
that would
really
be
cool.
very
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple of guys on there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there
that are-
are 3 guys in the World Cup, and one of them has a chance. And then there's one girl who is who just switched from Norway to Denmark.
Oh, okay.
She has Danish. She's half Danish, and she's pretty good. So she will have a good chance when she comes into and starts
Okay.
racing IBU Cup and World Cup.
Who
But
is
very
that?
young as well, or
No, she's a year older than me. Anne de Beche.
okay.
She hasn't been raced. It's a long time since she's been racing international. She was in the junior world champs in Osserby.
Okay.
I think that's the last time.
I thought for a moment you were going to tell us some very secret news about, and her name escapes me, but the Norwegian athlete who's kind of training by herself, who got left
Oh.
of the national team.
Knoten?
Knoten?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Knowlton, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
She's kind of training on her own. I'm like, maybe you have a surprise item for us here, but
No, it's her, and then there's a guy, Rasmus Schillerup, and then 2 brothers,
Yes.
Joachim and Jakob Rosbo.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that have a shot at the Olympics. So if either one of those and Anne de Beche will qualify, then we'll have a mixed relay team, which would be, I'm guessing, the
Whatever.
first relay.
And if we qualify.
And if we qualify, obviously.
yeah.
Of course.
And is
Yeah.
that based on just on IBU points or the same qualifications as the World Cup
IBU
and
qualifying points, yeah.
stuff? Okay.
And then it's the wild card system.
Right.
So yeah, and right now both me and Ukaleq is pretty high up on the wild card list. So if we continue to do as well as we have done, then we have a fair shot at the Olympics, and then and then the others have to qualify as well.
Wow, and then it isn't under normal circumstances. I would hope that you'll do better this season, right? If Ukaleq
of
is
course not.
healthy and
We always hope
But
to do
yeah.
better,
yeah,
and I think we will do better this year than last year. That's the goal for every year.
yeah,
So, but obviously everyone else tries to do the same. So
yeah, that's
can't
true.
really say can't really say that we have qualified yet because we haven't. But I think it's a pretty fair shot for both of us.
Oh,
When
sounds
does that
awesome.
qualification period, like when does the final date for that?
It's I think it's around 20th of January or something.
It's the first 2
Pretty late.
trimesters.
Got it.
Okay.
It's pretty late. So the last trimester of this season counts, and then the first 2 trimesters of next season.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
And then
And from
How
the
do
last
we-
trimester, we are both second on the wild card list.
Okay.
yes, how do we petition the IOC to seriously consider adding the single mixed to the Olympics?
I wish.
Right.
I mean, then one of the other races would probably have to go.
Tell them to let go of the pursuit.
Yeah,
That's a
because-
stupid competition.
It's stupid to have, because you have like the people who win the sprint will have a much higher chance of also
Yes.
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
that pursuit.
Tell them to get rid of the pursuit and put in the single mix relays.
But then there will be 3 relays, and that's a lot too.
I guess it is.
But they're more exciting for a
they're
lot
more
of people.
exciting, and they're much more fun to
watch.
watch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah. And is that the main reason with the pursuit, that you feel that it's unfair for, if you win the sprint, then you already get an advantage at the pursuit, or is it just hard to qualify
in a
for? Or
championship.
In a championship, for sure.
Championships, I think.
Then you can't say that you get a medal for free, but you get a much better chance of getting another.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just our opinion, but I have a hate-love relationship with the pursuits, because
I actually really like to watch it, to be honest. But it's just like when it's a championships and you're handing out medals, it's
Totally fair.
yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
also
See, I've always been a big advocate for the isolated pursuit standing as well, so that you could win a prize for the fastest time on a pursuit,
Yes,
even
I
if
mean,
you.
yeah, for sure.
That would be a good.
yeah.
That would be good.
Yes. If
But
not,
do you get prize money or something for having the fastest isolated time?
Yep,
Yeah, I
I think
believe
that
so.
started
Oh, I
just
didn't
last
know
year.
that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And we handed out the first globe in Oslo for the isolated pursuit standings.
Right.
So
Okay.
Wow.
we 3D printed the globes and
Nice.
Who
brought
got
them
that?
over there. Sturla and Lou.
Ah.
Well, I think their dogs ended up with it.
Okay.
Wait, we know Lou's dog for sure because she put a picture of her dog with the trophy. So
Right.
at least it had a good life as a dog toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I was going to ask. So it's been really interesting, watching you guys. Yeah, I think a lot of people would assume, being brother and sister, growing up, together, competing together, in theory, having similar coaching, at least from a younger age, that your performance would mirror each other. But that's not really the case, because Sondre, you're quite fast, and Ukaleq, you are one of the best shooters. So why is it that you guys have such divergent biathlon? Was it because you guys were just like, I don't know, like what happened there?
Good question. I think you have always, well, not always, but you've had a bigger talent for shooting than I have, I
I
think.
was good at shooting from when I started,
Yes.
and I think you have always been more interested in competing
Yeah.
from a younger age.
So, I mean, I haven't been a fast skier up until
You weren't
2
so
years
fast.
ago.
Yeah, you weren't that fast when you were in high school.
Yes. So it's, and I mean, I always, when you compare me to the World Cup athletes, I'm obviously not as fast, but yes, I don't know. I think you have just been a better shooter from the beginning, and then I don't think I'm that bad of a shooter right now, but there's definitely a big gap up to you. But I think at least last year I had a lot of races where I focused so much on my skiing that I kind of forgot forgot the shooting. So in some way I kind of I don't know, sacrificed some of my well, not sacrifice, but I focused too much on my skiing and too little on the shooting. And then I had a lot of races with bad shooting. But this year I've been focusing more on the shooting part, which has also greatly impacted my overall hit rate.
And I think your hit rate has gotten better because you've actually trained more shooting during the training season as well.
Yeah.
And you
I
changed.
think when you get older, you probably, it will stop at a certain time, but as you get older, you probably get better at shooting just because you have better, I guess, mind control or
not everyone
emotional
does.
control.
Some people go their whole careers and never get better.
Yeah.
And
well, let's stay positive here, Ukaleq. Let's say Sondre can do it.
I can.
He can if he trains.
Yeah, no, I think
no, for sure.
It's a weird thing, this with shooting, because I know some people who train dry shoot every day, and they shoot and shoot and shoot, and they seem to never get better. And then there's some people who doesn't shoot as much. They train shooting a lot, but then they just have I don't know, better way of taking in new learning and new experiencing, and then actually get better at shooting. I know. I think a big part of the reason why I shot better this year compared to last year was because I had much better routines before the competitions. I was much better at actually preparing myself for the competition, shooting wise. And then that made an impact on the overall shooting, because I had some competitions 2 years ago where I shot good, so I knew it was possible. I just, for some reason, was too bad at making it happen every time. And that is.
But I think 2 years ago you were leaving it up to what do you call it? Tilfeldigheter.
Chance.
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 If
Yeah.
you
Okay.
shoot or not.
Yeah.
And then you would just be like, yeah, I'm a good shooter. I don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
But then, yes, you were a good shooter. Those like 3 times, those 3 competitions during a year where you had 20 out of 20 or 10 out of 10 or something.
Yeah.
But then the rest, it was really like, it
Really bad,
swinged
yeah.
a lot.
Swinged a lot. It swinged less this year. And I think the goal is to make it swing even less, so that at every single competition next year, it's obviously very hard, and sometimes you're gonna fail.
I
But
think you should start shooting training soon.
I'll shoot tomorrow.
This is exactly what I was hoping for. I could hear a little bit of Big Sister coming out there, and that was fantastic.
Yes,
And I know that
absolutely.
as a younger brother, I know that voice very well. I know that I can hear my own sister right there. So,
But so I was looking for some pictures for the art for the podcast I do, and I noticed there was like Sondre with a rabbit that you shot, and there was also, I think, 5 or 6 white. Is it partridges or some sort of birds? But now that we know that Ukaleq is a better shooter, are you posting birds that your sister shot?
If we both what? What was the question?
Oh, the pictures of the birds that you shot, they were on, I think they were on Sondre's Instagram.
Yeah.
But now I'm wondering if you shot them, Ukaleq, because we now just learned you're the better shooter.
No.
I think you shot. You shot more ptarmigans than I did this year. And you shot better than me too. You had more headshots than I did.
Actually, do you think?
So is that part of the shooting practice?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Did you just go out?
Well, I guess you shot with.
I did hit like the prone target when I was, or like as small as the prone target when I was hitting them. So I
even
guess
used the biathlon rifle.
Yeah, I used the biathlon rifle too.
Okay.
We used this regular hunting rifle.
Did you take your race rifle out?
No, it's one that we have in Greenland. It's like we use it
old
for.
One.
It's a very old. It's an Ishmash, and it's not like it's not adjusted for anyone, but we use it for people who want to try biathlon or when we're having the Greenlandic championships. Yeah.
Did your parents race with them?
Not this one, no. No, I think they've sold the ones that they used.
And actually, serious question. Do you think that growing up with that hunting tradition, do you think that impacted your shooting at all? Or is that a completely different thing than the biathlon shooting?
I mean, when we hunted, when we lived there, we hunted mostly bigger, like reindeer. So it's a completely different caliber. But
you shoot with a sighted, sighted scope too. What do you call it?
And you shoot on much further distance.
Right.
But
it's very different. But
it's very different.
But I can say this that
you control your adrenaline, maybe. I don't know.
Breathing,
I can say that whenever we go hunting now, I try to implement the things that I learned from biathlon onto the shooting when we go hunting. So
especially with the trigger,
the breathing and the trigger action for sure is so. I guess it's more the other way around. That whatever you learn from biathlon, I use for hunting. I guess instead.
I'm just curious. Do you eat what you shoot for the hunting?
Yeah.
It's I think a biggest part of our diet is made from home. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you are, and this question's for both of you, but Ukaleq especially, just because your accuracy is so incredible. When you get to the range and you're shooting, obviously your routine is the same, but is your proficiency with shooting, is that just from practice? Do you think that you have just a better eye? Is it hand-eye coordination? I'm sure it's all of it, but like, what do you attribute it to?
I think I have a very good position. I've worked a lot with my position, and I think I'm very good at feeling in my position what works and what doesn't, and then adjusting it. And then I think I'm also quite good at at like constantly having something to work on, and constantly I think I'm good at like feeling, okay, this is not working right now. Right now my what do you call it? Like the movement into the target wasn't good in this series, so this is what I need to keep working on. I think it's that.
Yeah.
I think that's where you are better at me at shooting. Because I sometimes when I don't hit targets, I have no idea why I didn't hit, and then sometimes when I hit targets, I have no idea why I hit.
And I feel like I can always tell. I can always explain why did I hit or why didn't I hit.
But I think for me, whenever I shoot good, it's because I come into the shooting range with a good mindset, with like very focused and with very little regard to things happening around me. So I think that's, I guess, my biggest strength when it comes to the shooting out.
And I'm expecting you to tell me that I'm completely off, but just looking at you guys in races, sometimes I get the impression that Ukaleq is a bit more of a loose person, where maybe Sondre at this point, maybe you're a bit more competitive or how would I say, bit more like focused on the competition itself. So when I see you shoot, I think with Ukaleq sometimes you're very good at, when you miss, to not let it rattle you. You just go on with the next shot. Where maybe Sondre, does it impact you when you miss?
That's a good question. I think at least for me, it depends. I mean, sometimes I get angry when I miss the first shot, and then I end up missing the next two. And sometimes I don't let it bother me at all. It's there's thing with shooting is there's so many variable things that impact your shooting, and it can be such a small thing.
If you lose your focus in a split second, then suddenly it's gone. Or if you let yourself get angry during the series, then
and then there's a lot of other like outside factors like wind and fog and rain, and there's a lot that can impact your shooting. So it's kind of, I think it's kind of hard to always pinpoint why you missed the shot. But I think it also, like, a good shooter will more often know why he or she missed.
But the question was like, if you're like impacted by shooting bad, like during a competition.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, yes, obviously sometimes, but I wouldn't categorize myself as a person.
I know that, I don't know if that's like, it's not really the same thing, but I was talking to my teammate about it, and I think there was a big difference in that when she had like a bad period in her shooting, or like if she had a bad session, it would impact her a lot, and she would think about it for a long time, and it would take her a long time to like get out of that bad mentality, where I think I can have a bad session, and then that doesn't mean that the next session is going to be bad. I think I get over those like humps very quickly. But obviously I don't know, I think also, like, in the same session, if I have one bad series, I feel like I can change that around pretty quickly. But obviously sometimes I can't, but I think most of the times I can, because I know what went wrong, and then I can fix it.
Wow.
Yeah, because that must be like, I just shoot at like 20 levels lower than you guys, but like I find it really hard when my coach says just focus on one shot at a time, and then as soon as you shoot, forget about it and go focus on the next shot. And I know how hard that is. So I'm just, I wonder sometimes if the personality that you are, and again, I have no idea, please tell me if I'm wrong. I just, when I see Ukaleq, I always get this, like after the race, for example, the single mixed relay when you walked to your parents. Sondre was kind of just, walking. You were probably exhausted from the race too, or worrying about falling on national TV. And then you see Ukaleq bouncing into comes into the screen, and so that's strictly based on that. Of course, I don't know you guys at all.
Yeah.
So.
The thing is with your emotions after the race is that at least I have a hard time remembering what I actually felt at the finish line when people ask, because I was so tired. There was not really any thoughts.
Yeah.
There weren't really any thoughts going on at all. So what were you thinking when you crossed the finish line? And I kind of just have to say that it felt great and blah blah blah, but in reality I was just really tired.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, for Ukaleq, it's so much build up tension because you're in a race, but you can't really do anything about it because your brother is on the skis.
I was
so
just waiting for you, and that was really fun to watch you cross that line. That was really, really cool.
And then your parents are also your coaches, right? Or at least part of the coaching team? Or no?
They're just team leaders, and they help zero us, and they help with the logistics and everything. But we have our own coaches. We're both on private teams in Norway,
right?
So we use the coaches on those teams, and then
the last 2 years we were on the same team, team 1.5, and now this year I changed to another team. So now I am on another. So we have our separate coaches, and I think it's a good thing. It's very nice to have our parents with us, but I think it would be
too close,
tiring and annoying to have them also tell you what you're supposed to train. So they're with us and they're helping us in every way they can, but they're not telling us what to do.
But we talk about training.
We talk about
shooting and physical training and everything, but they're not the ones helping us making the plans or anything.
Okay, so it's not like at dinner time, like you need to clean up your room, do your laundry, and you need to focus on shooting prone tomorrow. Or
we were when I started high school, I was very determined that now I go to high school and I got a separate coach, and I'm not going to use my parents anymore as coaches, because I've heard about other people who do that, and it almost always goes wrong because it gets too close, and it's just too hard to separate the roles of when are you a parent and when are you a coach. And it's already a little like this because they're the team leaders, but at least, I mean, the coach-athlete relationship is so close. It's so, it would be hard to mix those, I think.
Right.
Totally agree. Yeah, I think for you one bit.
As a parent to coach, it's really hard to not get emotional because you see your child do well or not well, right? So it's hard enough with your athlete, but if it's also your child, maybe.
Yeah.
And there's also something about just knowing everything about each other, right? Like your parents knowing everything about you, and sometimes you just need your coach to treat you sort of a little bit more independently. I don't know. I'm just thinking if I had been your age and my parents had been my coaches, I would have loved them. I'm like I can't be talking with you about, like RJ said about doing the dishes and then also training. It's I need some separation, guys. Just back off.
Yeah. And I think it's good to have different people for different roles in your life.
100%. When you compete together, is there any sibling rivalry that comes out? And maybe rivalry is not the right word, but when you are competing together, your brother and sister, and you guys obviously have a very good relationship, but every now and then your brother kind of irritates you and you just want to bark at him, right? Does that ever happen? When you're at a race?
I'm very happy that we are not the same gender, because then it would be then we would compete much more. But we are, I mean, in the rivalry side, we are it's mostly teasing. But I my best result in the IBU Cup is better than his best result, and my junior world champ result is better than his, but he has a better result in the junior cup. So it's like this, but it's impossible to compare completely because it's different
genders. What we can compare is the hit rate.
Yeah.
Then you have better, but then sometimes I have better, and then I'll use that for all it's worth.
You try to catch up.
Those days. Yeah.
I thought it was funny when you started the question.
I don't think we actually ever like fight or like actually get annoyed at each other.
That's
really.
awesome.
Not really.
No, I thought it was funny when you started the question, Jordan.
Yeah.
When you started asking, I saw Sondre started laughing and Ukaleq started to look more serious.
I was just gonna say, if my sister and I were on the same team, like we would have days where everything would be fine, and there'd be other days where like I can't talk to you. Like I just need you to, you need to find your own range because I just can't even have you in the same area.
I don't think we've had. I mean, this year we traveled a lot together, but we didn't travel the entire season together. Because I did. First of all, you were injured, and I raced some junior cup and some junior world championships where you weren't there. So we raced, but like this year we're gonna race pretty much the entire season. We're gonna race the entire season together.
That'll be different.
So we'll see how that goes. The whole season, yeah.
You've got it all planned, all mapped.
Yes.
Not really.
We have everything except for we don't know if we'll do the IBU Cup or the World Cup in Lenzerheide or Annecy, and we don't know if we'll do Oberhof or Arbor, but everything else will be World Cup.
Or Olympics.
Or
okay.
Right. And then Arbor, that's the World Championships, right? For youth junior.
Arbor is IBU Cup in the beginning of January.
Okay. Because you're both too old for the youth junior championships there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I was supposed to be a junior one more year, but then IBU changed the rules. So Arbor, there was supposed to be junior world championships in Arbor. That was going to be my year, but then I got scammed of my junior title.
They robbed you.
I guess I'm going to do the Olympics instead.
and if I remember correctly, you got sick. Right, Sondre, you got sick last year
before the junior world championships this year. Yeah, it was horrible.
Wow, because you were having such an awesome season at that point too, right? Because I think you had a couple of wins on the Junior Cup, and at the Junior Euros you got a silver medal, and so it was fantastic. It was all set up. I mean, you must have been pretty irritated.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I came to Östersund, and then I got a notification on my phone, and it was the Eurosport Instagram account that classified me as one of the favorites for the Junior World Championship. And there I was looking at my phone, coughing, and I felt terrible. I just looked at it and I'm, damn, all right, well, I was very sick, and I raced the sprint there. I shouldn't have raced at all because really I was sick. I raced because I wanted to get qualify for the mass start, and then I wanted to race the mass start in order to have a higher chance of getting the Junior Cup mass start total score, which I ended up getting anyway.
And he didn't even qualify.
I didn't even qualify for the mass start, so I raced the Junior World Championships when I shouldn't have raced at all, which was really stupid because that came back to bite me in the ass when I came to Otterpay later. But World Championships in Östersund, that was some bad memories. But yeah, I still had a good season, so I'll just remember that instead.
That's what I was going to say, is that even with that clearly, being a rough point, I mean, when you look at your season as a whole, you have to be thrilled with, the big step forward that you took, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of important to remember also that in reality, when I look at my season this year, it was really only good in January, and the rest was pretty bad. But then I only remember the good stuff. So so even though there was I raced way more bad races than I raced good races, but still, I think it was my best season ever, and it's when you perform at your best, that's what kind of counts as how you are as a biathlete, and not. I mean, it's your best races that show what you're good for, and not the bad ones.
I would argue that you were only good in January. I would say that you also had some pretty good races before that and definitely after that. Because I'm just looking at, being 20 and you're at was it in Ridnon, and you had an 8th place.
I mean, my best races this year was the Junior Cup in Jacuzzi and Altenberg, and as well as the IBU Cup in Ridnon. Those were for sure my best ones. And then, I mean, I raced some World Cup in Hockfilzen before Christmas, where I crashed there as well. And then I raced some IBU Cup where I got disqualified because of my skis, and it was like there was all kinds
Your
of
skis broke.
Yeah, my skis broke during one of the races. I had to change skis 3 times, and there was a lot of bad things that happened. But
and they disqualified you for that?
Yeah, no. The thing is that my dad tried to wax my skis for the first time. Usually we always have someone else do that for us. And then he had some
really, really old
some
wax.
old wax that he used that didn't say it. There was fluor on it, but
okay.
But when they tested it for fluor, they were positive. So on the second IBU Cup race of the season in Idre, I never got to start. They gave me I never got to start, and therefore I also didn't get to start the pursuit the day after.
Right.
Wow.
So that
was
was
good because you don't like pursuits anyway, right?
I don't like pursuits.
But is that the last time?
The red pursuits when you are
yes.
you have a good
when you have a good pursuit, it's fun to race pursuits. Then and then also at the week later when we raced in Geilo at the IBU Cup also, my ski broke during the race during the individual. So I came down it broke during the race, and then I yelled to my brother, I have to get a new ski. And he didn't understand that it was actually both of my skis. So he didn't understand that I had to change both of my skis. So he came with one ski, and I was like, well, this isn't good enough. I have to get another one. And then I yelled to him, I have to get another one. And then, so I had to change skis 3 times during the race, which was, I mean...
that doesn't help.
At all.
No.
And then, so there was a lot of things that happened during in the first trimester there. Which could have gotten better, but then it got better in January.
And in Hochfilzen, when you fell, was that in the famous turn?
Yes.
For a lot of people,
Yes, it was with bib number 1 too.
Okay.
Everyone
was like...
That's what I was going to say, is I think I remember that.
Yeah, there was it was I had bib number 1, and I was so confident at the finish.
Cocky out of the
at the start line there, and I remember I talked to Campbell Wright just before the start, and I told him, dude, I'm so nervous. Bib number 1, everyone is gonna be watching me, and he said, you're gonna be fine. Just don't crash on the first loop. Don't crash on the first loop. And that's exactly what I did.
Oh man,
it was horrible.
But so now we know your dad's probably never going to wax your skis anymore. We understand.
No, probably not. No.
So do you work with different teams? Do you work together with the waxing, or do you just have your own dedicated team?
We usually get deals with other teams. So we've been working with Norway and Czech and Germany, Latvia. So
luckily, I mean, we're a very small federation. So I mean, we don't have the budget to like hire waxmen and to do the same stuff as other teams do at all. We're only 2 athletes and very small federation, so we are very lucky that the biathlon family is such a they're very eager to help. They
And
want to help.
we've always gotten someone
Good
to help
deals.
us.
And then it's also when you're such a small federation with so small amount of athletes, it's also easier for us to ask for help. So
Right.
when we come to a race, and Team Germany, they wax 6 skis already, and then I ask, can you just wax one more pair
Okay.
of skis, my pair, and then it's much easier for them to say yes than if it was like the whole, I don't know, Canadian team who came to Germany. Yeah, can you wax 6 more pairs? Can you wax in time?
Right.
So, but yeah, it's we are mostly relying on the goodwill of other teams. But so far they've been very nice, and we really appreciate that.
And you, part of the time you live in Norway, so there's some connections there, I would think, or is that very separate from what's happening at the World Cup?
It's very separate.
It's very separate.
Okay.
I mean, we used to wax with Norway one season, and then I had really good skis, but it was very expensive. So
Right.
I think it's not maybe not worth it.
And do you work
luckily
with?
for me, in the Junior World Championships and in the Junior Cup, it has been common waxing.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the Junior Cup and World Championships, I haven't had to worry about that at all.
So common waxing, as in like everybody hands in their skis and
you deliver your skis and IBU waxes them for you.
okay.
And then they wax everyone's skis, and they wax everyone's skis the same.
I really like that.
So in theory, everyone should have the same skis.
Yeah.
Which I think is honestly a really, really good initiative, and I hope they take that further up to the IBU Cup, and then I guess eventually to the World Cup as well.
Yeah,
I think we're pretty far away from that, but for small nations like Greenland, it
makes such a big difference.
Right.
So much easier.
It makes it fairer. We have a fairer shot at doing as good as the biggest teams. And it's less expensive, and it's easier, and so I hope that someday there will be common waxing for everyone. I don't think it's going to happen just yet, but
there's probably a lot of other reasons why that's not happening, right? But yeah, because you were saying, like when the Norwegian team was waxing your skis, that you could, you felt like you had super good skis. Because I always wonder as an athlete. Like I think for Sondre, for example, when you're in the same heat with Giacomo and JT Bow, you're not going to not compete 1-to-1 with them. Yeah. But you also don't know how much of that is between you and JT Bow and the wax as well, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, it would be nice to know, I'm behind one of these guys, but how much is it really due to myself or due to the wax?
I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, really, it's like that for everyone. So if I tell this to everyone that wants to listen to me, but the thing with common waxing is that for me, I don't see why any other nation than Norway and Germany wouldn't be in favor of common waxing, because it's always Norway and Germany who has the best skis. And France, I guess. So in theory, every single other nation in the IBU should be in favor of common waxing, because then they would have better, they would be closer to Norway, Germany, and France.
And Norway, Germany, and France should be too, because they're spending millions and millions of so much money on their waxing and their wax techs, and then Norway is spending a certain amount, and then Germany has to spend the same amount, and then France has to spend the same amount, and then in the end maybe they have the same skis anyways. And and that money could be spent on something else.
Yes. So there's a lot of nations who uses a very high amount of money and a very high amount of resources, and in the end they have at best the same skis, or the same or worse skis than Norway. So to me, it doesn't make any sense at all. But I think it
has nothing to do with the athlete.
It has nothing to do with the athlete.
The athlete has no impact on how good their skis are gonna be. So it doesn't have anything to do with athletic performance.
Yeah. So we are biased, obviously, because we're such a small federation. So, so there's gonna be some biased opinion coming from here because we don't have the money to wax our own skis. But I think most nations would in some way benefit from the common waxing system that they have had in the Junior Cup and the Junior World Championships.
Right. Well, and I think too it's not just that the gap is there, but the gap is so large. Like you said, like the big teams can spend millions, probably get good deals with the Swix and who else is in the market, and then you have teams that have no budget.
They make their own wax. They make their own, like, what's it called? Reels?
Grinds and
reels.
Yeah.
That's not available for anyone else.
Crazy amount. Really, it's a crazy amount of money and resources that get used on this stuff. But that's just how it's been forever. But hopefully someday people understand. And the weird thing is that I think most of the athletes, they want to be best because they're the best athletes and not because they have the best skis. Which I think is if that's true, I mean, most of the people I've talked with, at least, when if you ask them, would you like to be the best in the world because you have the best skis, or would you like to be the best in the world because you train the best and you work the hardest? And then almost all of them are going to say that they want to be the best because they are the best and not because they have the best skis. And then especially it doesn't make any sense to use this amount of money and resources for something that the athletes have little to no control over.
Well, it makes me think of Formula One. I don't know if you follow that at all, but you ask a world champion and they're like 90% of the people will say, well, he had by far the best car.
Yeah.
So it kind of devaluates your whole performance.
For sure.
And I mean, there's no doubt that JT Bow is a fast skier, but the gaps probably would have been smaller if they were on same skis.
Yes.
But does your federation work close with the Denmark Federation because you're competing under one flag sometimes?
Not really.
Not really.
No. Not at all.
We're gonna do
only in the Olympics, obviously, because then we'll race under the Danish flag.
I mean, we know the Danish athletes well. I mean, one of the guys
lives in Lillehammer.
Two of the guys live in Lillehammer, and one of the guys are on the same team as me, Team Jarlo. So we know them very well, and we've known them for a long time.
And we help them a little bit sometimes during the IBU Cup.
Yes,
because they often don't have a coach.
But our federations like that aren't intertwined in any way other than in Olympic.
So it's not like anything more than we are connected to Australia or Great Britain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and in a few years we'll be connected to the United States.
Oh, I was just going there. I was going to say I don't want to get the United States involved in this discussion, but just kind of is there a strong feeling of independence in Greenland towards Denmark, or is it kind of this is the way it is and people are okay with it, or?
I think
we just talked about that we should be very careful because we might not be able to get into the US if we
there was some journalists who asked us about this stuff when we came at the finish line in Lenzerheide after the single mixed relay, and then we just got and then now we went through some of the papers that our parents brought for us, some local papers and some other papers, and they're all like front page articles. We do not want to be a part of the United States and stuff. So we have to be a little bit careful of what we say because people are gonna pick up on this stuff and they're gonna make it a big deal. And it is a big deal, but it's not really our.
We're just athletes.
Yeah. No, but I don't know how serious we can take that.
We talk about the private, but I don't think we should.
But just more between Greenland and Denmark is a more established relationship, I guess, between the nations.
Denmark and Greenland.
Yeah.
We will be proud to race under the Danish flag.
Under the Danish Commonwealth.
Okay. Yeah, because it's also Greenland and Islands.
So I mean, it's we are as much. Danish Commonwealth as the Danish are under the Danish Commonwealth. So
Okay.
Sure.
So and I think both of us want to someday race for Greenland in the Olympics, but right now that's not possible. And then we'll be satisfied with racing for the Danish Commonwealth.
Okay.
The Kingdom of Denmark. I'm gonna race for our king.
I think also it's. I mean, of course, we are very proud to race for Greenland when we race in the IBU Cup and World Cup, and we're very grateful that we can, because some sports can't even, like in cross country, they have to race for Denmark. So I think we're grateful for that. But then, still, in the end, we are more athletes than we are nationalists. So
Right. Of course.
as long as we can get to the Olympics, that's the most important in a way.
I've always thought it really interesting because in the United States, Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States, and Puerto Rico competes in the Olympics under their own flag. And so I think it's interesting that you guys don't have that option. I'm sure that is
because the IOC follows the United Nations list of countries.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different who defines Greenland as a country or not. But since the United Nations don't, then
well,
could make this into a very long discussion with the United Kingdom versus Scotland, England, Wales, and
it's the
Northern
same thing.
Ireland separate. Yeah. And I mean, I feel your pain because Trump also announced that he would like to make Canada or Alberta the 51st state. So
we're taking over everybody. It's ludicrous. Regardless of what flag you are competing under, we will be cheering for you. How about that?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
Ukaleq, so I know that you are once again a part of the sustainability. I don't remember exactly the name of the group, but like the athletes sustainability.
Yeah, the sustainability ambassadors.
Yeah. So can you actually tell us exactly what you guys do during the year? Like what are like your meetings like? What are your focuses on?
We have a couple meetings a year, and then usually what we start with now we have a lot of new ambassadors. So it's been mostly focused on teaching them what is IBU doing, how is like the IBU built up, and who inside IBU is actually working with sustainability. And then we've gotten some education through the IBU Academy. And then we're it's mostly like IBU has a bunch of different projects, and then we can be involved in those projects if we want. So, for example, right now we have it's July is like plastic-free July. So IBU will encourage people to use less plastic, and then we will. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I probably will next week. Post something about how to use less plastic. And then we've had projects like I've been part of the jury for IBU had like some awards for the national federations and organizing committees, sustainability awards. I was in the jury for that. And then sometimes we get the opportunity to join seminars and webinars for sustainability in sports. Last summer I was in a webinar, like a summer workshop called from GSS, Global Sustainable Sport. And then I also spoke a little bit as a panelist on there. And then what else? They made a cookbook, and then two of the ambassadors made a contribution to that, a vegetarian cookbook.
Cool.
Where they made like a recipe each. So it's a lot where the IBU updates us on what they're doing, so that we can spread it out and talk to other athletes and other people in the biathlon family. And then it's also, we can join small projects, and we can also initiate our own projects and get some support from the IBU too.
Okay.
Was that something that you sought out, or
it's very like it's still like under development, at least like when I started. There's still like something they're trying out, and asking us for feedback on and what exactly we think that it should involve as well.
Cool. Yeah. So
But
you
it's
get to have
very exciting. It's very cool.
Yeah.
I really like being part of a group. Yeah.
But so with that sustainability in mind, we have obviously global warming impacting the snow. We know that the impact of making snow for big events is also, not necessarily a positive impact. How do you foresee a sport that's obviously relying on snow so much stay sustainable in this kind of environment? Or
I mean, we're gonna see that at some point we will be completely reliant on artificial snow, and we already are. Like most places already have completely artificial snow, at least as a base. And then I think that, well, this isn't something that I've confirmed anywhere, but it looks like IBU is trying to get summer biathlon more and more, with having this like
Loop One festival in Munich, and then the Martin Fourcade thing,
and it actually being part of a cup,
right?
But I think
although that one just got cancelled this year, right? So it's
what?
The Martin Fourcade event
Really?
got cancelled because the city doesn't support the event in that park anymore. So, and I think they tried to find a different location, but
I think that there also won't be a Summer World Champs.
Yeah, there's no Summer World Champs, but there's going to be the Loop One festival in Munich, and then I guess Blink Festival in Sandnes. But
I think we'll still see biathlon in winter. I think, but at some point there won't. Like I saw, on one of the webinars we had about sustainability, they showed like a graph. When we get to 1 degree warming, then this arena won't have snow anymore. And when we get to 1.4, then Lenzerheide won't have any snow anymore. And that's how it's going to be. There won't be places that have natural snow.
Right.
Yes, we have to make a arena in Greenland. The only place left on Earth.
Well, yeah,
and Canada, I guess, will be the only place, and Northern Norway will be the only place.
But Norway was so shit this year. There was almost no snow in Norway.
That's usually because it's so late.
I do wonder if because they're always looking at new ways to make snow more efficiently. I know they saved the snow from previous seasons, but I think with increasing temperatures, that's going to be harder as well. But I've read some article somewhere about that they were looking into putting freezing tubes under a track so that they can basically freeze the floor, and then it can be, I think it was like 10 degrees above zero, but you could still have snow.
Wow.
But I mean, it's going to be, I see the picture of Julia Simon, who's always like cutting off her sleeves, and you don't want to see a whole field of biathletes in a snow event go around like that.
No,
I know, but I know they're doing a lot to make artificial snow production more sustainability. IBU has a project called the Sepur project, where they're working on different ways on how to make it more sustainability. More sustainable. I don't know exactly what it actually is about. I know that a lot of places they produce only artificial snow when it's cold, so they use less energy. And then I know that they store for snow storage. And then I know that in Ridnaun was it Martel? One of those places, they made the whole track. They remade the whole track so that it would be more efficient, so that they wouldn't have to use as much snow.
Okay.
So I think it's stuff like this, but it does feel weird to have to go to such extreme length to keep something. That's
and how do you feel about roller skiing?
Places that are very popular, in Germany, in Oberhof, for example, place where there's usually so many people watching, and then if there at some point will be no more snow and no more possibility to race there, it's going to be a shame.
Yeah,
and
they
the only
would
places
probably still keep having those places because it's so popular.
Yes, but then I mean, if there's no if there's no snow, then yeah, we'll see. We hope that, of course, we will continue to race on snow. But I think there's gonna be in the future, as you said, more and more summer biathlon races, which I think is not too bad. I mean, it's fun to race during the summer too.
Yeah.
Have a little bit more than only the 4 months during the season to race competitions.
Right. Yeah, I think the only what I find unfortunate is that, like, I get it because the events are super fun, like the Loop one in Munich and the Schalke and those kinds of races, but they're not real biathlon races in the sense you only have like 5 lanes or maybe 10 lanes, and
Yeah.
so I think it would be good for IBU to also offer some races on actual biathlon trails or ranges in the summer.
Yeah.
Right? Have one in Antholz or like the popular places. But I think some race locations may also not be ideal to have a race on a loop on roller skis, right?
But
So
most
it could be
places
pretty
have
dangerous.
good roller ski tracks, so they could
Yeah, they have good roller skis, but they're often very narrow. So if you want,
just make it wider.
just make them wider. Yeah, I guess you could.
Yeah.
Most of at least the World Cup stadiums have asphalt underneath the snow, so there will be
Right.
so you are able to roller ski there during summer.
I guess I mean more about, like, if you think of Antholz, where they have that sort of loop on top of a valley, and then there's a very steep downhill section. I don't know if athletes
There might
are super.
not be asphalt under that part.
But
or I
even
don't
if there
know.
was, it's pretty steep for roller skis, I
Yeah.
guess.
Oh.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Will you guys be
definitely.
at Loop 1?
We're not invited.
Are we not? Oh.
It's only the top 20 in the Nations
Oh, is
Cup.
it? I honestly didn't. I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's too bad.
Yeah, I didn't see all the details.
They didn't want us.
Oh,
Well, they
I
should.
didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I think those are great opportunities to invite, the
Honestly,
nations
yeah.
you don't see every day. And
Yes.
but yeah, that's,
we just have
I
to
guess
ski a little faster, and then we'll be in the top 20 Nations
There you
Cup
go.
next year, I guess.
that's the spirit. Are you guys going to Blink?
I am not either. I think we'll both be in Greenland at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Jordan, you had a couple more questions. Do you want to get those in before you lose connection with the weather
storm?
there?
Yeah. I guess the 2 major questions I had left were, Sondre, like, what do you credit for your big step forward last year? And then Ukaleq, I know you had the injury last year. We talked to you in Oslo. Seemed like you were doing much better. Injury was totally healed up. Are you back to like 100% full training, no restrictions?
You can
yeah. What is my biggest? It's a good question. I think I had a lot of it, a lot of unfulfilled potential from 2 years ago that I finally got to put out this year. But I can see that for sure I'm skiing much faster at my best this year than I did last year. So it's 1 more year of training. I mean, I'm 20 years old, so for me, I'm kind of in that part of my career that almost no matter what kind of training I do, as long as I do it consistently and with good quality, I will be better next year. And that's kind of my training mantra for this year too, is that I will go 2 tours to altitude this year, but it's not necessarily because I think that altitude will make me that much better. In fact, it might not really matter at all. But as long as I can train consistently and with good quality, I think I will be better just because I'm still pretty young. And then and shooting wise, as I said earlier, just better focus on the shooting part of biathlon competitions has made a pretty big effect on my shooting. So yeah.
And so I'm just curious, when you say improving the skiing, are you mostly looking at like top speed, or is it also more efficient so that when you get into the range, you're not as tired?
I think those those two examples are the same. I mean, skiing faster is like there's obviously many ways you can ski faster, but in the end, it's just being in better shape in a way, having more training hours in the bank, and at least that's for me. It's gonna be that just having one more year with good quality training will, and that's across all spectrums. Both with my technique. I need to work on my technique, and I need to work on my slow skiing and my fast skiing, and intervals and long volume sessions, and I have to work all across the table, and if I do that for an entire year, I think I will be better next year than I was this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you recovered?
Injury wise, I am recovered. Yeah. It did last for a long time, but when I was back competing, I was basically recovered from the injury.
Do you feel this summer
so I don't
like
have any...
you are able to do more? I guess really the question I'm trying to ask, which I'm asking poorly, is, as you are progressing in your biathlon career, do you feel like you're able to continue to increase the level of your training?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't had the best start of the season training-wise. I was struggling a lot with my sleep throughout the competition season, and then I brought that into it for off-season and for the beginning of May. So it was a bit of a rough start in May, and then I got a little bit of sickness, and then I did have a couple of weeks of good training, or at least I started training, and then I got sick again. So it hasn't been the best start of the season, but I hope that now I'm back training again, and I hope I can just get some continuity and get some hours in.
I know you guys already have your schedule already planned out. Do you guys already have your individual and team goals set for the next year?
Do we have a team goal? I guess doing better at the single mix relay the next year than we did this year. Not be last, but maybe be second to last.
I don't consider you guys being last, because there was still 4 or 5 teams that were lapped. Right? So you still have to take that into account.
Glad to get to the finish line then. I think my goal was a medal at the Junior World Championships, but now, since the rules have changed, there isn't really like that kind of in reach goal. I mean, I can obviously say that top 30 in the World Cup, or top 40 in the World Cup, and top 6 in the IBU Cup or something like that, but it's not like as significant as a World Championships medal as I initially hoped for. But I think that I have this year and next year, I have the possibility of getting the blue bib, the U23 total score in the World Cup. For on the guy side, it's quite a lot easier on the women's side. I saw just on the points table from this year, it was Campbell Wright and Vitaly Mansin who fought for that blue bib, and other than that, there wasn't really anyone who had even a remotely close chance to getting it. So this year, it's we'll see if Isak Frey gets to compete in the World Cup. If he does, then he is definitely gonna be very hard to beat on the U23 bib. And then Vitaly Mansin also is gonna be racing. Both of those. Campbell is no longer U23.
Right.
So I think my two biggest competitors in that grade is gonna be Mansin and Isak Frey. But then next year again in the 26-27 season, both of those will be too old. So I hope that
then someone new younger.
Then someone new younger is going to come. I mean,
but you'll be 2
seasons
seasons better than 2, right?
Yeah. What? Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
No, obviously there's a lot of other junior athletes which I know pretty well. Jakub Burgula, as I talked about earlier, he's a strong athlete, could go for that bib, and then. We have a guy even younger than me from Croatia, which I know pretty well too, Matja Legovic.
If you're serious about taking the U23, then you should do only World Cups and not even do IBU Cups.
Yes. Yes. But then, again, if Isak Frey races a World Cup this year,
I don't think
I have a chance at all.
I don't think he will because there's so many other... Like the Norwegian team is so hard to get into.
It's hard to kind of to calculate that and to make a plan based on other athletes. I think in the end my goal is
you can just be better than Isak Frey.
In the end, my goal is to have some competitions during the season in which I perform at my very best.
Can we add one goal that you're going to try to qualify for every pursuit race this season?
I really hope that I will qualify for the pursuit. I was very close. Yes, because I hate pursuits.
Well, maybe you'll like it after.
I hate pursuits, and my only goal is to race pursuits. Yeah. Kind of ironic, isn't it? No, but I was very close at racing pursuit this year, especially in Oberhof. And
I think if you just have a sprint where you clear, then you'll
qualify. The thing that people don't know is that in the World Cup sprint in Oberhof, I actually crashed too, but it wasn't on camera.
Stop crashing.
Yeah, I know. And the funny thing is that I talked with Campbell right before that competition too, and again he told me, just don't
avoid Campbell Wright. Avoid it.
Yes.
Talking to Campbell.
Yeah, I will stop talking to Campbell Wright.
Stop talking to him. Don't let your dad near your skis.
I told him also in the at the World Championships in Lenzerheide. Don't even say anything to me.
Yeah,
go away. Keep your mouth shut.
Well, that's the problem. He never stops talking. So, you might just be in his general vicinity and he just starts talking to you.
But
maybe we could talk to him to tell you you should fall, mate.
Yeah.
That will have the opposite effect.
The thing is that on the sprint in Oberhof, I was about 20 seconds up to qualifying for the pursuit, and I could see on my times, like the split times, that I lost 20 seconds on that crash. So if I hadn't crashed, then I would have qualified. But again, it's kind of like saying that if I only hit one more, I guess it's a part of the game to stay on your skis, so I can't really blame it on that. But I think with a bit better skiing, one more year of training, and if I can continue to perform good on the shooting range, I will have a chance of qualifying for all the pursuit races next year. But we'll see.
Oh, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I had one more question to close off, but do you have one more, Jordan?
Nope. I was going to say we need to let them go so they can go to bed.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say, what does the number 435, does it mean anything to you?
435. No.
Not really, no.
So that is all the Slettemark races on the World Cup, IBU Cup, and Junior Cup combined.
Really?
For a moment,
430.
What, Slettemark? Does that include?
Yeah, so the 5. Yeah, so your younger brother did some junior races as well, and then your parents both raced, right?
Oh, yeah, they raced a lot of races.
435 races in the Slettemark family.
That's
220, 223 on the World Cup. But then I was like, I wonder if that's the most for a family. And then I looked up Siminator with 430 or 534, and
surely the Bø brothers will have more, right?
Well, yeah, I was just looking at Ader because there's also Mari Ader who had 350 World Cup races, but I don't think they're related per se. But Siminator, I think his dad actually raced.
Yeah, raced for like
195. Yeah. But no, but that's,
I think my mom just told us that she raced 98 races or something. So she should have kept going for just a little bit longer and she would have had 100.
Yeah,
Also, the two Norwegian.
I looked. Your mom.
Sister,
your mom showed 91 World Cup, 39 IBU Cup, and your dad 97 World Cup, 41 IBU Cup.
And maybe it was my dad who said it then.
Okay.
97.
Right.
So close.
But so go for 100, both of you, at least.
Yes.
But thank you so much, guys, for
absolutely
spending the time with us. It was a blast
you're welcome.
to chat with you. It was really fun.
Yes.
And I really I'm gonna love seeing you guys on the World Cup and IBU Cup, but definitely my fingers crossed for the Olympics. That would be fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll be back soon with the next episode. Take care.